It's Vancouver's podcast on the Canada's Podcast Network.
Irene Strong was born in Nakusp, BC, a small village in the West Kootenayregion along the Upper Arrow Lakes. She has since worked with NBC Olympics, TED conferences, and Habitat for Humanity Greater Vancouver, among many other organizations. These organizations have all influenced Irene's mortgage business model, a model built on a foundation of perseverance, education, and belief in the power of home ownership while assisting her clients in realizing their dreams of owning a home. Well, Irene, welcome to the show. Thanks for taking the time today to be here for all our listeners.
Thanks for having me. I'm very excited.
Okay, I want you to tell us a little bit more about yourself and give us the details on your current business.
Yeah, well, like I said, I was born in Nakusp, moved to Revelstoke when I was about 8 years old, and then took off to Calgary to do my undergraduate, and then moved up to Vancouver as soon as I graduated. I knew I wanted to come here. I basically had to start all over. If I have any recommendations for people, if you're going to go to school, maybe go to school where you plan to live, so you can build all those contacts at the same time. When I was here, I actually started with the Vancouver Board of Trade. I think I lucked out getting one of the best jobs I could get starting out in this city. So that's kind of where I started my job. And from there, I moved on to I've always wanted to work in the Olympics, so I got happened to connect with somebody from the Vancouver Board of Trade who I also knew from my days at University of Calgary. Worked for the Olympics through a small Canadian company, Moving Products, Inc., that did uniforming for Olympic sponsors. And then from there, I got a job with NBC, so I went from literally the smallest organization in the Olympics related to the Olympics to the largest. So it was quite a span. And then after 2010, it was kind of time for my husband and I to settle down and have family. And I just figured moving kids around with the Olympics was a task I didn't know if I was ready to take on. So we decided to stay here in Vancouver. And I had to find a job, and the unfortunate part was everybody and their dog didn't have a job because so many people left their full-time jobs to work on the Olympics. So my 3 games before didn't really mean anything because everybody else had Olympic experience. So I had to then figure out what I was going to do. And I talked to a friend of mine, and he's like, I'm in the mortgage industry, and he's like, I think it's something that really, really suit who you are and your personality, and I think you do really well. So talked to my mortgage broker, and he recommended to take the course. And so I did while I was on my mat leave with my son. And then from there I thought, okay, let's do this. Let's start a business. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to always open my own business. Had no idea what it was going to be. So I thought, well, I love real estate. And at that time we had owned 3 properties already. And I thought, well, I want to do this more, and if I can learn how to do it, maybe I'll get really good at it and buy more properties. So that's where I kind of took off, and I really didn't know anybody because even though I was local, most of my business contacts were all international because of the Olympics. So I had to start with friends and family and a really tight-knit group of people. So it was a kind of a slow build, but that's how I kind of started from and grew into the mortgage industry.
Now, did you need financing to start your company, and how are you currently making money in the business now?
Yeah, I wish I had financing to start my company. Yeah, I didn't. But quite honestly, one of our properties, my first place in Oxford Street, that was my financing. I basically it was a home line plan with RBC Bank, and just from the equity built up and from turning it into a rental, that was our lifeline. Like for me to say, okay, I don't have a job anymore. If I don't bring in income, that's our backup plan. So just how it turned out with the baby and shifting of things, like that did become our lifeline. My first year, I attempted some different things, and they didn't pan out as well as I thought. But I learned a lot, and so I didn't necessarily have financing, but we had a backup plan because we needed to have that. And now it's 6 years into it. And as they say, I think it takes, 5-7 years to really start building up that momentum. And actually, it was the one I was on, I caught quote unquote mat leave with my second 5 years in. She wasn't on mat leave at all because I doubled my business that year. So it's just one of those things that now it's just it's building itself. But I'm actually considering looking at financing my business this year. I just recently incorporated, and I have a whole bunch of other bigger plans I want to do. And I think that might require some additional funds. So I'm actually considering leveraging some things that I'm going to do so that I think I can grow faster. So that's kind of my hope.
And which segues great into this next question. What is the long-term vision, and what will your company look like in the future? Do you see the company expanding into other areas, and where, beyond Vancouver, BC, or even Canada?
I don't see beyond Canada. That's a really hard one with mortgages because every country is so different in how they do their mortgage financing. The States is quite a bit different than us here. So, you never know. I guess that's always a thing. If you can do something really well, you can maybe transpose it in different ways. So it's always a potential. For me, I do think I see a substantial amount of growth. I always have these dreams and hopes of revolutionizing the mortgage industry in a unique way. I'm hoping to do it through education mainly. I think the barrier to entry in our industry is lower, and so I want that to be raised. And I think we have some phenomenal brokers out there that are constantly improving our industry, doing great things, and building up the next grouping of mortgage brokers in the industry. So there's a lot of mentorship that happens in this industry, which is quite rare compared to some other industries that are very, very competitive, even within our own real estate industry. So it's great that way, but I think there needs to be some additional training and unique ways to improve what we can do as brokers, because we have so much opportunity to help people and do really, really great things, and really to differentiate ourselves from the banks. And we do it really well, but I think there's a better way to do it. So that's one way. But I also think we can really improve the financial literacy in our own country, because just the basis of mortgages has I think the mortgage is the biggest wealth building tool a Canadian can have. And so if that's the case, how do you use this, and how do you use that knowledge to do better financing and to be better prepared and teach your kids how to manage money? So I think there's a lot of opportunity in our industry to make big impacts, and that's what I'm hoping to help, build on.
Okay. Well, Irene, we've learned a little bit about you, and we've learned about your company and mortgages, but we want to learn a bit about your experience doing business in Vancouver. What are the biggest benefits for you in being an entrepreneur here in Vancouver, BC? I want you to give us some of the good points about starting a company here, but I also want you to give some of the tough things or challenges for our listeners so they can keep an eye out for them.
Right. Well, Vancouver has a lot of opportunity. It's especially in the real estate industry. I know a lot of people think it's expensive and unaffordable, but it's a really great place to live. So I think just for the entrepreneurs, because it attracts so many different people and from so many different walks of life, we have the mountains, we have the oceans, we have the forests, we have the beaches, like everything that you kind of want to enjoy. So a lot of people want to live here and do business here. And I think because we're made up of so many small businesses, people have those ways to interconnect and grow their business from, a lot of people talk about the meetups and the different kind of access to networking that we do have here. And we're open that way because we kind of need to do it. We are made up of mainly small businesses, and places like Toronto and New York aren't really, they're much more bigger companies, or Calgary has a lot of the headquarters because of the tax bracket for them. So we're a little bit different here. And so I think that for entrepreneurs, they're different opportunities and different money, different way of doing it. People want to invest. There's a lot of things that way. The negatives, like people say, they think the cost of living here is pretty expensive, but I think if you do it smartly, if you try and get in and find where that in is that works for you right now and how you can grow up from that, you could do very well. So you got to kind of flip that negativity into a positive and just see, that the opportunity, because I think we are so young here. We are infants. I always say that, like Vancouver's an infant in the grand scale of things, of what's going on in the rest of the world, between Hong Kong and New York and London and most of all of Asia. We're infants, and so and we don't have a lot of land mass to grow on. So what you can do here is pretty special, and then you have all the international access through our airports and waterways and stuff. So no matter what your business is, you have the opportunities. And I say, if you can just get into the real estate market and live here, you're kind of golden.
Right. Okay, we do some of our best work outside the office. Is there a place in the Lower Mainland close to where you live or work where you like to go recharge or get inspired or just think about your business? And does it change with the season, considering all the rain we get here?
Well, I was thinking, I don't really get to go to that. I think I need to add that in my life. But what I do is my family and I, like we're really into sports. We love sports, so we are Whitecaps season ticket holders. We love the Whitecaps, and I love going there. And quite honestly, like, I know it's not a quiet place, but what it does is it does reflect for me on business stuff. Like, I go there and I love watching the people and the interactions and how they're cheering for a team. And I even watch all the media stuff, all the banners that go up, and that, I watch how do they market? How are they marketing? What are they doing? Why are they doing it that way? And I find it fascinating. Like, I look at it because I enjoy my time there, and my kids love going there. We all have a good time every single time we go. And so it's just trying to, like, bottle cap that somehow and take it elsewhere. And it's, there's other places like that in Vancouver, even peaceful places. But, obviously Stanley Park is a prime place to go. And I love all of the attractions we have, from the aquarium to Science World and Granville Island. But those are just checking out your city. So for me, I know it's not really a quiet place, but the sporting venue is definitely somewhere where it gets my wheels spinning for business thoughts.
Of all my guests, this is the first time I've ever heard go to a Whitecaps game to think about your business. I got to tell you that. This is the first.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. But it's weird. I actually think a lot of my business when I'm there. Yeah.
Great. Okay.
Yeah.
I want you to imagine you've never been to Vancouver. Now, we have a lot of listeners who are international that, either have been here or looking to start a business here or come here and do some kind of entrepreneurship. If you were to start all over again and you just moved here to Vancouver, BC, but this time you don't know anyone, knowing what you know now, what would you do and how would you go about starting all over again as an entrepreneur?
Quite honestly, I probably do exactly what I did or lucked out doing. I don't know. I got, like, getting that job at Vancouver Board of Trade was big, and it allowed me to see how Vancouver works, how businesses work, how they kind of tick, and that they know what they need each other, and how to connect and why to educate and continue to be involved, and how to give back. And so my entry into the city was a great one that way, and I don't think I would change that. But not everybody's going to come in and get a job at the Vancouver Board of Trade, but you can definitely get a membership and join. So that would be one way. It depends on how much money I guess you have to start, but I think that's always good when people always say the meetup groups and those kinds of things. Urban Rec volleyball was another great one for me. I love volleyball, so I joined them, and it's a very integrated community that tons of people from all different places seem to love volleyball and beach volleyball. It just has this, I guess, connection with everybody. Even if you can't play, that people like to just go out and have some fun and pass around a ball. So Urban Rec was another great one for me, and again, I'd probably do that same thing. So probably follow around the same footsteps. If I would do anything differently, it's yeah.
So board of trade and play some volleyball and connect that way.
Yeah, and just there is tons of organizations out there, depending on what industry you're in. There is so many organizations that you can look and check up, and they're always hosting a conference, or there's other conferences happening that you never know how one conference might apply. Like I look at the BC Tech conference and I'm like, man, I want to maybe go there because I have a couple other things that I want to do. And you just don't know who you're going to meet or what company might be there or something you might have never heard of. So sometimes it's just go way out of your comfort zone and see and take a look, because you never know what cookie crumbles might be left. So that's, for me, it was just like, I just got out. I just went out to as many things as I could and met different people and tried to just have fun. So yeah, that's kind of where I would encourage anybody to go do.
Okay, Irene, let's talk a bit about your routine. What does the first hour look like for you when you get up in the morning? Do you have a specific routine or a ritual that helps you get motivated to start your day?
Another funny one. I wish. I'm trying to work towards that. That is my ultimate goal, is to get that routine in place. My routine right now is get up and help get the kids off to school, and at least my husband, we're trying to split up our routine now, where he takes them to school and I pick them up and do the dinner side thing. So I'm aiming to try and get up earlier now, get to the office earlier so he can deal with that, and maybe get in a quick workout, because I haven't worked out forever since I've injured my knee. But those little things that you're supposed to be doing, or the should be doing things, but know that my body and my brain needs it. I think the thing of having young children, I have a 7-year-old and a 2-year-old, it just, some of those personal objectives kind of go out the window, or you let them go out the window, and I have to be a little bit more forceful about the things that are important to me, or the things that I think I really need to take care of the other people. So those are definitely areas of improvement for me. So I've got a few scheduling things that I've done. I've created my own, I don't know what you call it, but I call it a daily ritual. So I'm trying to fill those out at night so that that's done, so I kind of have a game plan for the next day. But that first hour is, right now, it's a little bit chaotic, so I'm trying to smooth that piece out.
Do you think entrepreneurs have to be weird or unique in a positive way, or are wired differently?
I don't think they have to be. I think a lot are. I don't know if weird's the word, but I think we if I'm lump myself in as an entrepreneur, because that's I guess it's a choice in how you choose to evolve, I guess. And entrepreneurs take on a lot more risk, and they take on a lot more responsibility in trying to get something done. And sometimes you have to be a little bit off base to think that you're going to get that done and to do it. Because sometimes it's ridiculous, and to some maybe unachievable. And you need to have that kind of weird, if you want to call it weird, passion to think that you can do it. So, I think a lot of entrepreneurs are probably also competitive athletes. There's a big competitive nature of the person, and somewhat some ego. And I think you need to have some ego to do it, because you have to know that you can do it. So, but yeah, I think comes in many different forms, but I do think people can learn it if they really have the drive. But there's just some people that would rather just come home, do the 9 to 5, not worry about or think about anything else. And you just can't do that in an entrepreneurial world.
Okay, what books are you reading now, and why, or even audiobooks? And can you recommend any books for our listeners who are also aspiring entrepreneurs?
Yeah. So I do Audible. I just started. That was my big plan last year, was to get on Audible, and I'm so glad I did. It was probably one of the best things I've ever did. And I've plowed through quite a few. My ultimate from doing that, I have three kind of Bibles, I guess, is what you would say, and they're common to most entrepreneurs who've read them. But Think and Grow Rich is hands down probably my number one Bible. The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes is another great one. It's phenomenal to just, I kind of listen to that one on repeat a few times, and then How to Influence Friends, or How to Influence, How to Make Friends and Influence People. I think is how that. Yes,
Dale Carnegie.
Dale Carnegie. Those are my 3 Bibles, and I plan to continue reading those ones every single year. So I won't just stop and read it once. It's going to be on whenever I feel that need to go through a new growth development, or just a reassessment, I guess. So those will be my annual books, and then I don't know. There's so many good ones out there, and I keep hearing some phenomenal books. I think it's just, if you go on to, and there's a lot of, if you sign up to Goodreads, which I'm on Goodreads, I get a bunch of people feeding some other options. Right now I'm reading the Miracle Minute. Or Miracle Morning, sorry. There's some good things about it. There's some not so good things that I'm like, But for the most part, I think if you just go on Goodreads or you go on Audible and see what other people recommend, you'll find anything you want to learn. And I stick to most of those personal ones. But I do have to say, if you're going to read one, I should have it up here, but what can I think of his? I can't think of it. He's a speaker. Tom. Anyways, if I come to it, I'll let you know. It's so good. It's not a how to do better. It's just a really fascinating book to listen to, because he Trevor Noah, Born a Crime. It's such a good, on Audible, because he reads it, and from his own lips, it's unreal. Like, it's unreal where he came from. It's his life story, and it's just, wow, holy shit moments.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's a good one to just go somewhere else and just see what else people have to go through. So yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Any online or offline tools that you use on a daily basis?
My phone is my lifeline. Email, of course. I'm on Outlook now. I used to use Gmail. I'm on Outlook. I kind of miss my Gmail for different reasons, but Outlook has other positives about it. I use Google Docs now. I use Excel as part of my database too, but I've been trying to shift that over to Google Docs. I'm always exploring different CRMs, or if there's any other way to do a form, or it's just in the mortgage industry, there's so many different CRMs, and not one is right. There's a company trying to make that better, but it's, there's a lot of tools that we do need to do our job. There's a bunch of apps where we try and use, because we have a lot of document-based stuff. So, if it's TinyScan or any of those little document app things that can help people get the documents we need. And MailChimp is always, it's a standby for newsletters and whatnot. I don't do Hootsuite. I still do. I haven't really done my social media campaigns. I've been doing my own, and with the time that I have, it's been really limited. So I'm now going through a restructuring of my Facebook and Twitter and social media, so that I can have a really clear brand out there. And then we'll kind of maybe bring in the Hootsuite kind of managing piece to it. But yes, just mostly standard ones. I'm looking at hopefully adding more applications on the phone, like apps that my clients can use, or making it simpler for the consumer. That's the ultimate piece, is how can I make this the most simple for the consumer to give me the information I need to do the best job for them.
Okay. Well, earlier as we were talking, you mentioned all the activities that are available to do in BC, and all the things that we have here: rivers, lakes, oceans, beaches, you name it, we got it. How do you balance work, and how do you relax and not think about work? And what are your favorite activities to do here in BC? Do you ski? Do you bike, kayak, golf, hike, or simply go for a drive?
Yeah, again, I kind of put my activity side to the side. The thing that I've really started taking up in the last few years is golf. So because I injured my knee, my volleyball days might be forever gone. I'm not too sure on that one. We'll work on it. But I've started. My husband's an avid golfer. He's actually in the industry, so I thought it was a really good retirement plan. So I thought, well, I should probably get going on that, so I can at least play around with him. So yeah, that's my new thing. I'm really starting to like it. I'm starting to get into the lessons and improving that. So I find a golf round is a really good way try and de-stress. It's not the easiest because golf is a really hard sport, but it's definitely my most, if I'm going to try and relax, it's my most relaxing sport playing activity, I guess, because you can drink doing it too.
Yeah,
so.
that's true. Yeah. Well, the final nine, the back nine.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I do, and we have so many great golf courses around here too. So it's kind of a nice piece too.
If you weren't doing what you do now, what would you like to do for a profession? The Olympics was my dream. I always wanted to work in the Olympics, and the fact that I got that very shortly out of graduation from university, it was kind of a shock to me. I've always wanted to travel the world, and I thought, how cool would it be to go and live in these places and get to work there and get to know the culture a little bit and get to know it while working, right? So rather than just doing a week or 10-day holiday. So I think I would go back to the Olympic world. Maybe not now, but later in life when the kids are grown up, so that you kind of get to do the trips again and check out all the different cultures and countries and just people. The people in the Olympic world are all from all over the world, so you're constantly in this unique blend of experiences. And I don't know, it's a great, it's kind of a, I don't know, it's kind of an addiction, I guess, in some ways. When you're in there, it's hard to get out. So yeah, it's a really cool place to work. Be ahead of the Olympic committee of some sort.
Yeah, committee, or I really liked working with companies that are associated to the games. It's another really good way of getting involved. The committees are a little bit too structured for me sometimes. They're pretty rule regimented, and the companies who are associated, whether they're sponsors or participating or giving some supplies in some ways, they're a little bit more creative and fun in their involvement.
What kind of a job would you not like to do? Couldn't do it.
I don't know. I think the thing about me is if I'm going to do a job, I'm going to do it really well, even if it's a really crappy job that no one wants to do. I'm going to make sure I do it really well. So, if it's me cleaning the toilets, I'm going to clean the toilets, and I'm going to do a good job at it. So, I don't know. Like, everybody has a different passion for different things. Could I say like, oh, I never do that? I don't know, because I have to tell myself never say never, because you really never know what you might end up doing. So I don't know. I think I would get bored, I think, after a while with some jobs, but it would be, how do I adjust that? So yeah.
Okay. In business, what is your favorite word or quote or sentence that you like to use?
I guess it's never give up. Never give up.
Okay. What is your least favorite word or sentence you do not like to hear?
Thinking on that one. Would not like to hear. I gave up. I guess on the other end, I give up. Unless it's for a really good reason, okay. Yeah. But I think sometimes people give up way too soon, and or they don't go the extra mile. And I don't know if there's a word or like laziness or that's. I just think sometimes people don't. They just do it to what they think is okay, and sometimes it's like, why not put that extra effort in and just make it that much better? So. I
thought it'd be something like mortgage rates are going up or interest rates are going up. I thought that'd be a word. You wouldn't like to hear that.
No, you know what? Sometimes it's good because it gives me another excuse to reach out to clients and say, hey, it's time to move, right? Like, it's time. So it's not good for the consumer. I really never like that, but it does, all those things in my business world, that gives me another reason to reach out to my clients and be like, hey, this is what's happening. Do you want to move on it now or do you not? Right. And so, those are always opportunities for me. So I can't, it's not necessarily a negative thing, but it's a negative thing for the consumer overall. Yes.
If you had to pick one or two words to describe yourself, what would it be and why?
2 words. I don't know. It's funny. I keep telling people my friend had this shirt, and when I was down and visiting New York and him in New York, and I can't even remember what the words were, but he goes, I go, oh, I love that shirt. And he's like, there's 2 words. And he goes, oh yeah, my buddy makes them. And he said he made one for girls. And he said the 2 words. And I was like, oh my God, I know who that describes. And it was exactly my daughter. And then I'm like, well, maybe those are the 2 words that help me. But it was aggressively adorable. And I don't think I'm adorable, but there's aggressive, and then there's the softer Irene. so I have I don't know, maybe aggressive isn't necessarily, it's probably too strong of a word, but I have some fight in me, or I have some want to achieve more, do more. And sometimes that doesn't, can come off wrong, I guess, if I'm not careful. That's what I'm trying to learn on that. And I think the other side is that I'm really organized. I found that really odd. On one of my birthdays, someone went around and said, oh, say a few good things about Irene. There was a bunch of really good things, but I was so surprised to hear how many people said, she's really organized, gets everybody together. And it's like, okay, I didn't realize I was that organized.
Well, that's a good thing to know.
I know, you're like, oh, okay, but there's all those other things, but it was one of the things that stuck out. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize because I never think of myself that way. So that was kind of an odd one.
Well, that's a good thing. Your clients will be saying, she handles my mortgage and she's well organized.
Organized, yeah. So
it's a bit of confidence there.
Yeah. So I got to tone down my aggression is what I have to do. Yeah. So.
Okay. Well, speaking about interest rates and things like that, earlier, what keeps you up at night, if anything?
Well, right now I would say I go to sleep pretty good because I'm up pretty late working on my business. So I'm usually going to bed when I'm exhausted, and I'm not staying awake, but I'm up because I'm working on business. So for me right now, it's just my growth plan. My growth plan is very aggressive, and it makes me a little nervous. And that's where I guess why I mentioned when we first started our conversation is, I might be looking to get financing support because I have such an aggressive plan. And I know a lot of it, entrepreneurs don't want to, they don't spend more than you make. And I'm in mortgages where, to me, I leverage my home because I understand mortgages, and that's what, banks borrow money to make money. Other companies borrow money to make money. And sometimes that's a scenario that you have to play in. I'm not saying all the time, but there's certain circumstances where that makes sense. And as long as you're reinvesting it in a smart way, I think the results you're looking for can happen. So, if people are taking money out, refinancing their home, but it's to make some improvements because A, they might be wanting to sell in 3 years, or B, they want to just love where they're living and then down the road, see what happens. But anytime you're reinvesting in a smart way and improving the value, especially if you're refinancing to improve and then sell, you can add quite a bit of value to your home or to your pocketbook. So that's kind of what keeps me up at night. I am nervous because you never know. My big thing is I just don't know what's going to happen with the market. Like, what if there's a big downturn and no one can move and no one can refinance, and even though people can renew, they might only be able to renew it with their lender. They can't move to a new one. So, the downturn of the market could be substantial. I don't think that'll happen in Vancouver, but I have to be practical and I have to be realistic about, I still have to pay my bills, and my growth strategy is to hire, and how many I hire is a big question. But if I have other people relying on me, I need to make sure I have a backup plan, make sure that they get paid. So those are just the things that kind of go through my head, I guess, at night.
I want you to give us the top 3 things on your inspired life list. This could be whether you want to do TEDx talks, you want to travel some more. You've written a book already, but maybe some more books. Anything like that?
Yeah, I have a few top goals to do right now, and they're goals, whether they morph into something else. But I love where we live right now. I love our home. We lucked out and bought at a really good time, and I do hope one day to grow my business so that I can build a new home on this lot, because I love our lot. I love the view we have, and I think building that dream home on the lot that we have would be amazing. We started with our backyard, and a few years down the line, I want to build a home. So that's one. I want to buy my dad used to collect pianos, and I lived in a piano museum growing up. And it was super bizarre and weird. I know most people, I lived with about 100 pianos throughout my whole youth. And there's this one particular piano that was my ultimate favorite piano. I adored it. So my goal in life is to buy that piano so that I can put it in the house that I built. So those are, because my dad passed away, oh my gosh, I don't even, 14 years ago, I guess now, almost 14 years ago. So it's, that's just like a piece of the puzzle that I want to bring back in my life. And then down the road, my big one is just one day, my husband wants to build a little mini golf course where we retire. And I said, well, if you get a golf course, I want a winery. So
there you go. So golf next to the winery, perfect match.
Yeah, I thought we'd be the perfect, if you want to go on a stag or stagette location party.
Play some golf, drink some wine. Perfect. Do you have any advice that you may have received that you can pass on to entrepreneurs throughout BC?
I don't know. Again, my advice, just never give up. You have to, that's the same words I live by. I think find a mentor. I feel like, I literally feel like I just won the jackpot. I'm kind of going through a change in my business, and it'll be kind of evolving over here in the next month or two. And my big thing was finding the support network that I think I need to grow and who I can lean on for advice, like the bigger picture advice, like, things that I need to think about in my growth strategy, like when do I hire staff, how do I hire staff, kind of help me through that process of just because mortgages is really a unique business in the underwriting structure and dealing with lenders and actually running your business. They're very you're running kind of two separate businesses in itself. So I'd say just try and find those mentors and ask all the questions you can possibly ask if you can think about it. So I've right now just kind of absorbed 6 amazing mentors in a unique way, and I can't wait to just learn from them and grow from them. And my goal is to, I know I'll make mistakes, but how can I minimize those? Who's in my corner to help me minimize those, and who wants to see me succeed?
Right. Okay, Irene, are you ready to have some fun?
Sure.
Okay, good. Well, we talked about earlier, we're always connected. There's, we live very busy life schedules and lots on the go, and we're always connected online to the internet. And just like you said, you are always close to the phone. It's a big tool of yours. But we're going to take you away from all that. There's a small tropical island just off of Fiji. It only has one phone booth there. There is no internet. This place does exist, by the way. We're going to drop you off there. You won't have a computer or a smartphone or a tablet. You can use the phone booth located there anytime to call the boat. We'll come pick you up. How long would you last before you made that call? And what would you do while you were there?
I think I'd last a pretty long time right now. Right now I could really use a holiday. So I would, I'd soak up that time away. I think the thing that would make me want to come home are my kids. That's what would make me feel homesick is the kids. So, I would, but in the meantime there, I would, I would have fun. So I would go meet the people, see what's happening, what's ticking, what makes people happy there. I'd hopefully try and play some volleyball if my knee's okay. And I would just enjoy the area and the space, right up until I could handle it, I guess. I love the sun. I love beaches. I do enjoy nature in its every element that it has to offer. So, I don't know.
Couple weeks.
How long would I last? Yeah, at least a couple weeks. I would, if I could extend a month, I'd probably do a month, because I think, I always say if you can get somewhere, you can do 4 months somewhere. You can really learn and live that culture and feel really connected. 4 months is stellar. 6 would be better. But if it would, like I said, my kids would be the reason why I'd come home.
You can make that call. So I miss the kids. Where's the phone booth?
Yeah. Well, I guess I got to go see them. All right. So.
Say goodbye to the volleyball players. Take down the volleyball net. Time to go home.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I might phone you to say, bring the kids over.
Yeah. Then I'll stay another month.
Yeah.
Okay, Irene, how can our listeners get hold of you? And is there anything you'd like to add before you leave us today?
Listeners, you can reach me at irenestrong.com. I'm also on Twitter at Irene_Strong, as well as Instagram, same thing, Irene_Strong. And YouTube, I have a few videos. I'm hoping to get more out there. And what to leave you with? I don't know. I think check out my book on Amazon. You can read, I think they have some free pages there, but definitely reach out to me if you want to talk more about it, because my big thing is, like the book title is, Own Your Piece of this Earth. Wherever it is, I think owning is a good thing for the person. I think it's good for the community. I think it's good for everything that goes on. It kind of keeps the wheels pumping. If you're a traveler, it may not make sense to own anywhere, but owning somewhere, something somewhere is sometimes that great piece. So that's my big thing, is if you can get in somewhere, you can grow from there, and it's well worth it. So yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming on the show. I've learned a lot about you, and I'm sure listeners have as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. Okay, we'll see you next time.